Hello, I'm Emily. I'm the creator of this blog. I wanted to take a quick video of some of the highlights of choosing a path in law librarianship and some of the things you might want to consider before going down this road. I originally created this blog as a tool for students, but I hope that anyone considering a new career or that just has interests in law librarianship will find this information useful. First off, I want to point out that law librarianship has a lot of really great opportunities out there right now, and the job outlook is pretty positive. There are a ton of different niches that you can fill, and anyone who has particular interests, such as historic preservation or digital archiving, can find a spot to fill in law librarianship. Depending on the type of institution you choose, you can also find opportunities in a ton of different locations all across the US or even the world for those of you interested in international law. I'm sure some of you, like myself, have chosen to pursue law librarianship because it is one of the few types of libraries left that remain fairly traditional in terms of environment and service. Libraries today are starting to see a major shift in their purpose from quiet study and research spaces to community and common centers. But law has always been a field dominated by tradition, and their libraries are no different. So what you're most likely going to find in a law library are small collections of individuals working quietly on individual projects. Even in academic libraries, where students usually gather to study together, in law, there's an every man for himself sort of cutthroat mentality that usually keeps this information sharing between law students at a comparative minimum. That being said, I do think that the traditional outlook on law librarianship is a bit stagnant. Some of the more lofty theoretical approaches to law can create issues and barriers in a bunch of different ways. It can create exclusion, it can hinder open access to information, and it can limit the potential benefits of really creating a community. So I encourage anyone thinking about law librarianship to consider bringing innovation into this field, even if you still want to keep things traditional. There are always ways to sneak new approaches in without losing that overall scholarly or established field that you might be looking for. Still, my purpose here is to share some of the things that you should expect in a career on law librarianship, and this really varies depending on what type of institution that you choose. For example, while there is still a considerable amount of that tradition that I was talking about in law firms, you are going to find a lot more innovation in private firm libraries because they're also part of the private sector, and the business is only going to succeed with innovation. So if you are interested in development and action and you care less about tradition and theory, pursuing private or firm libraries may be the right choice for you. The other three types of law libraries are academic, as I mentioned earlier, and then there's government and special law libraries. So simply talking about purpose here is going to reveal some structural differences in law library function and in practice. All law libraries carry the conventional duties of libraries, such as acquisition, cataloging, collection development, database management, etc. And they all share the similar purpose of disseminating legal information to their patrons. But they also perform different roles depending on their community. So for academic law libraries, their main focus is to provide access to materials for law students and to offer legal research training. They're going to work very closely with professors on legal research instruction, and many academic law librarians also teach official legal research courses. Because of this, more so than other academic librarians, academic law librarians can hold faculty and even tenured status. Depending on the institutions, academic law librarians may even also be expected to engage in and publish their own research. Academic libraries often also have special collections of antique or rare documents that are going to require preservation skills for those of you interested in that area. Private or firm libraries, as I said earlier, are there to serve the associates of the firm. Their main function is reference assistance, resource suggestion, and the creation of bibliographic aids. These libraries can be very demanding. Attorneys may need information on the spot. Development of a case may require information at a moment's notice, and the accuracy and usefulness of the information you provide can really make or break a case. So if you are choosing this career path, you will need to be able to work efficiently under stress. But that being said, the faster paced environment may prove both challenging and entertaining for you. Government libraries may also prove similar to firm libraries in this regard if the facility is embedded into the court system. The main function of these libraries is to provide reference assistance to court justices and staff attorneys, as well as preserve any antique and special collections, again, for those of you interested in historical preservation. These libraries may also offer opportunities for you as a tourist guide. So state-level institutions or higher often get a lot of tourist foot traffic. Anyone interested in history or its recounting, this may be a good option for you. Now, special law libraries can come in many different forms. They can be association libraries, bar association libraries, which are basically member-funded or bar-funded library clubs. They can be part of the nonprofit sector. They could also be subscription-based libraries that specialize in particular areas of the law, such as patents or copyrights. Or they could be international institutions. The functions here are wide-ranging, and I'm not going to take the time and go over all of them, but I will mention that if you are interested in international institutions, this can be a very exciting new option as we are becoming a more globally connected world. Handling multinational laws and disputes in different languages may be a challenge, but you also might find it stimulating as well. Education-wise, what you will need to know going into law librarianship will really vary depending on what your pursuits are. Most jobs will want librarians to have a master's in library or information science, but some smaller government, special, private law libraries may not require it. For many academic, large firm, or bigger government facilities, the JD may also be required. It certainly may be required for administrative roles, and in academic libraries, the director will absolutely need to have it. Even if it isn't required, if you are up to the challenge and you can afford it, getting your JD will really open a lot of doors for you in this profession. Other degrees may be helpful or even required, depending on where you go. For example, a law firm specializing in business may want their librarian to hold a bachelor's in business or marketing. A government library with historical significance may also want their librarian to have a degree in U.S. history. It's really going to depend, but the Master's in Library Science is typically a safe bet, and it's a good starting place. So, with all of these degrees potentially putting you in debt, let's talk about profit. What kind of pay can you expect in this career? And this is really going to depend on the type, size, and specialty of the institution that you choose. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average annual pay for all libraries in 2017 was $58,520. The top half of that reached up to $62,880, and that included colleges and professional schools, while the bottom of the tier dropped down to $52,520 for local government. But these are estimates for any librarian, and they don't take into account that for a lot of professionals in the law field, they are typically going to enjoy a higher pay than those in other fields. This is true in school, in secondary education. Faculty can earn almost $30,000 more than the average teacher in another field. While I can't guarantee that this is always going to translate, you can probably do a little job hunting and find pay in these ranges. And of course, as you go up in size and reputation, the potential pay increases. That lowball number of $52,000 for a local government position can jump up significantly depending on the level of government and the esteem of the library as well. Now, for firm libraries, this can be a little more uncertain. Some firms pay their librarians by the billable hour. Some offer hourly rates. It's really going to depend on the size of the firm and the stock that they carry in the legal research abilities of their librarians. The pay is going to change considerably. So if pay is something that is important to you, you may want to think about how different library or information institutions compensate their librarians. One last thing I really want to discuss is ethics. All librarians are going to run into ethical debacles at some point in their career. That's just the nature of providing information to the public. Law libraries, however, may test you in ethical ways not often present in other libraries and may test you more often. When an attorney comes up to you and asks you for your reference assistance, by taking the role of librarian, you are obligated to serve to the best of your ability and to the fullest extent of your resources. So what if this attorney asks you to, say, help him find a loophole getting his guilty defendant out of being charged, or to receive a reduced sentence? Okay, well, that's not right. But add on to that, what if that charge is drug trafficking or child molestation? These are real-life scenarios that you may be put in, and regardless of your perceived injustice, you must perform your librarian duties to the full extent. In most institutions, you absolutely cannot refuse a reference request. While this sounds pretty terrible for some of you, there is a little light here. Some institutions are going to have a pretty low rate of these incidents. Academic law libraries especially are probably not going to put you in situations like this because most of the work done is theoretical. Nonprofit organizations might also put you in a position to do a little moral good. Instead of looking for loopholes, you are looking for concrete ways to put a felon behind bar, or you may be supporting a landmark case in equality. So there really is something for everybody, and law librarianship can be a very rewarding career. I've covered a lot of ground here, and I hope that you found this information useful. Check out my pages and blogs for more information on the different libraries, and also keep an eye out for my bibliographic blog that's going to have some really great resources to give you a more in-depth look at the profession. Thanks.